Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be discussing control point mechanics and how to use them to your advantage and what to be aware of in regard to that. Now, first of all, I have to put out a disclaimer. I do not know why control points are not resetting for most people. Some people have said that their control points are not resetting. I think the developers have maybe addressed this. Maybe there is a time frame when where your control points will reset. But one thing that I can say that you should do is matchmake for a mission and then look at the open world of the people that you've matchmade that mission with. One of the really interesting things is after the mission, once everybody leaves, you now have that person's session and you can gain access to their control points if you really want to farm control points. That's one way to do it. It's a long shot. It's not the most convenient, but that's a very temporary solution so that you're not sitting and everything is green and you want stuff to farm and you can't find a way to farm them. Now, that being said, let's look at what we call the world difficulty. So first of all, for your control points, you have level 1 through level 4, and these are based on difficulty levels. So level 1 control point is normal, level 2 hard, level 3 challenging, level 4 heroic, blah, 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 blah. Now, if your open world is normal, what you're going to see is that every single control point that's actually listed on your open world is going to be either like control point level 1 or alert level 1, which means the control point is going to have normal difficulty. All the enemy NPCs are going to be normal, bosses are going to be normal. And at level 1 through level 3 control points, I think, you do not get named you do not get named enemies as the bosses on there. And there's a difference between getting a named NPC and getting just an elite NPC as the boss. Named NPCs usually do have some. I think they seem to have a better chance to drop you your exotic. So if you look at my open world right now, all my control points are control point level 1. Now, if you want to make them level 4 control points with an open world for normal NPCs, then you have to do activities that are linked to these control points. Sometimes they are very arbitrary. Sometimes they have a line drawing to them. Sometimes you wouldn't even see a line. And if you don't see a line, one of the things I would say do is run closely around to those control points and you will see activities start to pop up. I think the activities sometimes don't show up on the map, and as you get close to them, they auto-generate themselves and you can start doing them, and then they'll start indicating what control points they're for. So another thing too is, an activity could be way outside of the region that control point is that's linked to it. So you also have to be very careful as to how you address these different activities around the open world. Like if you look here by tidal basin, this particular control point, the mass, doesn't have any activity pointing to it. But the moment I go and investigate this activity, I can almost tell you that for sure it's going to trigger this particular control point. Now, when you do the activities around a control point, then that control point starts to level up. You do one activity that's linked to a control point, it will level up to control point level 2, 3, and then a third activity will level up to control point level 4. Now, if you are not yet comfortable with running your open world with heroic, I would advise that you do it this way, because if you do it on open world normal, all the enemy NPCs that are around the open world will be normal difficulty. You can melt them easily. The only enemy NPCs that are going to be on heroic difficulty are the enemies that are linked to this control point. That's the difference between you changing your world difficult settings from normal to, or from hard or challenging or whatever, to heroic. The difference of that is every single enemy NPC is going to be a heroic level NPC in the entire open world. So that is the major difference between that. So if I look at a control point, let me go back to MLK library. I was there just a second ago. I think it's just a few 0.2 kilometers. I'm going to run over there. Or look at this, that territory control over there that you're seeing on the map. That territory control is going to be full of heroic NPCs. Even MLK library, or a control point, if you have a resource convoy, maybe you're attacking the control point and a resource convoy is coming along the way, that entire resource convoy is going to be 100% elite enemy NPCs on the heroic level difficulty. And if you have maybe even an elite enemy patrol that's coming in, so that also automatically increases the difficulty of every single thing around that open world for you. And now you have a much more difficult, thing to attain in regard to beating that control point. So, in my opinion, if you want to get better loot, yes, you have to withstand the difficulty level of this particular control point and all the enemy NPCs that are, that are going to spawn with it. So look at this enemy NPC that's right here. He is a level 40 and he is a heroic level NPC. So he's going to have more health and more armor. And if I try to engage them, they're going to be much more difficult. So this is what can happen to you. You imagine taking them this control point and a team of Patrol Black Tusk members eventually come, and circle you around. So I'm glad this is a perfect example happening as I'm actually recording this. So in a situation like this, you're basically, in a pinch. So you have to make your way out. They do a lot more damage. He's probably going to try to kill me. And if he doesn't kill me and I take off, he's going to alert the other control point members with all of the noise and all of the, the damage that he's dealing. Look, he's climbing. What I'll do is I'll pop this enemy NPCs and I'll take off so that they can actually deal with him or maybe try to deal with me in that aspect. See, they're already attacking me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my time and I'm just going to back up a little bit more than I already have. See, they're trying to melt me. And look, there's another NPC patrol around here. That's one thing about the heroic that makes a lot of people say heroic is unbearable. Heroic is too hard. Heroic not only comes with difficult enemies, it also comes with enemies sporadically spawning at every direction. So I bet you if we look at that area of the map right now, that LMB patrol is probably going to be fighting against that hyena control point. And so that's exactly where a lot of people make that assumption that because I can beat heroic missions, I can beat an open world heroic control point. It's two different things, and it's something that a lot of people have to pay attention to, because a heroic mission, what makes a heroic mission different is when you get to that mission, spawn points, where enemies are going to be coming from in most cases. But in the open world, enemies are going to be spawning everywhere. They're going to be spawning behind you, on top of you, in front of you. And so this is exactly what you need to pay attention to. But the benefits of also running the open world is that in heroic is that you now have higher chances of things dropping for you, better gear, better rolls. And so even though it might be more difficult, it is a little bit more rewarding. And also, it seems like there has been a slight buff in the drops for exotics. I think this week on one of my characters, I got 4 exotic drops. That is insane. I usually don't get that many. I mean, in 1 week, that is absolutely ridiculous that I get, that kind of and that amount. So here I am at a mission and I can already see the bad guys, and most likely I'm not going to get a patrol like just spawn around me. That's the difference between playing a heroic mission solo and trying to play the open world, because I can predict that enemy NPCs are coming from either these entrances and I can pick them off in a controlled environment. So when people gain that assumption that, oh, we're going to go into the open world heroic and just farm because we've been beating heroic missions by ourselves, and then they get melted, they complain and say the enemy NPCs are doing a lot of damage and blah, 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 blah. And yes, they are doing a lot more damage, but it's a whole different environment. The open world at that heroic difficulty is a lot more difficult, and that's what the design is about. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I know a lot of misconceptions and a lot of perceptions are out there regarding how this stuff works. I'm probably gonna get melted once I start shooting this guy, because he's, he seems like he's got a lot of health and he's a big tank. And I hope, you guys understand that, many systems in this game do differ, but at the end of the day, if you understand how each system works, then you're going to be better off. Because if I understand that, hey, a heroic level mission is different from a heroic level open world, then I know how to approach them differently. In a heroic level open world, you're not safe in cover. Cover does not help you much. Cover is just for you to heal and strategize and, distance yourself away from bad guys. And I don't have a lot of damage on this build. This build is supposed to be like some kind of a support build. And so I can't take this guy out easily. I have to do some more work on him. But look at that. Compared to just that control point just now, where I'd already seen almost a total of like 10 NPCs trying to melt me, I'm just sitting here in cover, and this guy's most likely not going to approach me. He's going to play slightly differently, but in the open world, they get more aggressive. They detect you easier. They can see from a long distance across the map. And so you are in a bigger, issue, but it's not a big deal. So that's pretty much my video for today. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys so much. And I'll see you guys, God willing, in the next video. Peace.